54 miles or 87 kilometers of pure EV range is what you get in this, the brand new 2025 Mercedes-Benz GLC 350e. My name is Jimmy, and let me tell you everything you need to know about it. Starting with the looks, well, it looks exactly like the standard GLC. There isn't too much to differentiate this compared to the standard model. The easiest way to tell is probably you get an extra cap here for, of course, charging up the vehicle. And then the model designation right here on the back, obviously that's different. But overall, it looks like a standard GLC. It's not really any different, but that's okay. It's a good looking vehicle from front all the way to the back here. One of the biggest things you do lose out on is, well, cargo capacity. Thanks to the battery itself being situated here underneath the cargo floor, well, the floor height is a little bit higher and you don't get any of that underfloor storage. There's only this little piece here just on the end. You still can fold down the rear seats 40, 20, 40. There's these little buttons here that allow you to do that. That folds nice and flat, so you're still able to carry longer items. But yeah, the height is definitely not as much as the standard model. But let's check out the rear seats. In terms of overall space back here, it isn't too bad. I'm 5'11", headroom plentiful. Legroom is okay. My shin is just underneath the front seat here. But this specific one here, it's quite basic. And what I mean by that is I don't have heated rear seats. I don't even have climate control here. And this, well, just looks like some sort of robot or monster. Not sure what to make of it. Kind of like it, kind of don't. But you can let me know in the comment section down below. If you're thinking of carrying kiddos in here, it's the same as the standard GLC. So 2 kiddo seats, you're not gonna have any issues with that really. Just the only thing to worry about is, well, depending on the height of the occupants in the front, you may not be able to have a rear facing seat just directly behind them. But let's move up front. In terms of the seats are pretty comfortable. They are heated, but not cooled, as that option wasn't checked off. But I do get seat kinetics, which just move me around a little bit. So during longer drives, it's not as fatiguing. They do have like a 4-way lumbar support and quite a bit of control. Even the headrest can be moved back and forth just to make it more comfortable in here. Something that, well, not a lot of mainstream manufacturers tend to do. In front of me is your typical Mercedes steering wheel. You got this 3-spoke design. It looks good, but when you're using it, it's just a little frustrating because you're going to be looking down at either the cluster or the infotainment screen for these 2 little D-pads that's on top. It's just not the most practical when you're driving, just because you're going to be just moving your head around a lot. The cluster itself is, I mean, pretty typical Mercedes. It shows you all the things that you need and a whole bunch more. There's different kind of home pages depending on the mode that you're in. You can get turn-by-turn navigation. You can select an off-road mode. You can really customize it to whatever you need. Same with the heads-up display. Color heads-up display shows you a bunch of info here. And the main infotainment, while it's not like the full dash screen that you get on some higher-end Mercedes, this is still a very nice infotainment implementation. I actually prefer this over the full hyper screen that they got. You still got wireless CarPlay in here that I've been using. That's been great. You do get some dedicated buttons, but just got to remember the location of them, as there's no real tactile feel of what's what when you're on this screen here. The climate control, yes, that's baked in on the bottom half of the display, but it's not that bad. Set your temps, put it on auto, and just let it do its thing. If you need like defrost, it's right there. So it's not that big of a deal, but the older system is definitely easier to use overall comparing to this. I mean, the overall interior, this is really nice. The stitching that's in here, it's good. Everything has a satisfying click and feel to it. The middle, it kind of reminds me of a Audi TT or Audi A3, just because it has those triple AirPods in the middle. It's a good looking vehicle, and for a sub $100,000 Mercedes, this looks really nice and actually feels very solid as well. Unlike some others where it just creaks, this is actually really good. I don't feel like there's massive creaks within any of these panels, which is definitely an improvement compared to some others. Let's go for a drive. Let's talk a little bit about this powertrain. Under the hood is where you find the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 201 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque. The electrical components add up to 134 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque. In total, it makes 313 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. There's a 23.3 kilowatt-hour battery, which gives it the 54-mile or 87-kilometer range. In terms of performance, well, the 350 is actually a little bit slower than the 300, and that's just because of the extra weight. Well, yes, it has more power. It's also carrying like 900 pounds more than the GLC 300. So yeah, it's not going to be the best in terms of performance. If you do want a higher performing GLC, well, get the 43 or the 63. That's always available for you. But this is about being economical. And when you're being economical and driving under the electrical power, it's very quiet. And it's so quiet, in fact, the loudest thing in here is not so much like the wind noise or the tire noise. It's actually the motor that's on the rear camera. That activates when you slow down. So when you slow down to like 20, 25 kilometers per hour, that camera activates and you just hear, and then when you speed up, it retracts up. And that's all you hear. Other than that, I mean, the ride is superb. It's like a Mercedes should. It's not like sporty or anything like that. It's very comfortable. The suspension soaks up all the things that it needs. Sure, few bumps and whatnot on the road, but that's pretty normal. A base GLC 350 here in Canada is about 65,000 Canadian. Aspect is just under 85. And if you want to stack on everything like the cooled seats in the front, heated seats in the rear, and whatever else that they are able to stack on here, is like a $90,000 SUV for something that's really not that large in size. And for that price, to get just like a 2-liter 4-cylinder, I don't know, feels like you're just not getting your money's worth at that point. But of course, you know, everyone is a little different. For this, the GLC 350e, it makes sense because it's a plug-in hybrid. You know, if you're able to charge a vehicle at home, you're going to be fine. It's going to be a good enough experience where you're going to be driving on EV most of the time, and you charge it kind of whenever you need to. You have that 60 kilowatt charger, the DC fast charge, if you opt for that, because that is also an additional option. But you should be fine. The only real quirk I have with this vehicle is just like the brake pedal and the regen. The brake pedal, it doesn't feel like a regular brake pedal. It just doesn't really feel like what it's supposed to be doing all the time. It's just not consistent. And that's because, well, the regen, that's a big part of it. When you start the vehicle off, D auto is what it's going to be defaulted as. And that just makes the regen do whatever it feels like. Because depending on if there's traffic in front or you're going down a hill, the speed and whatever else that it decides, it can change that regen and just feel like just that inconsistency of when you lift off your throttle. It's a little weird, but you step on that brake pedal hard enough, it's gonna stop the vehicle. So it's fine, but it's just weird. But that's really it. The only kind of quirk about the GLC 350e that is not getting on my nerves, but it stands out in a world of pretty darn good. And that's the only thing that I find in the 350e that could use a little bit of improvement. But in any case, I think that's really it. Let me know if you have any questions about the GLC or Mercedes as a whole in the comment section down below. Would you take this, the X3, the Q5, or be a little different? Get a Volvo, get an XC60. Comments. In any case, take care, and I will talk to you later.